I really want you to be a stay-at-home dad. I think it'd be great. And I just was like, that's gonna be boring.
That's the way it went, though.
Well, it was, okay, go ahead.
Y'all don't believe that they're really my family. So I want y'all to see they're really my family.
Here's what you're not thinking about. Because it's not so much, like, I'm offended by her question, right? The question isn't offensive. The fact that I don't have an answer is offensive.
Ooh. How did that impact your pride? Because there's a lot of men out there in the world who would not have done what you've done.
Like, I have pursuits where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna help, you know, bring income into the house. And he's like, girl, that is not where I need you right now.
Focus. Like, I can hear her, she can hear me. We laugh through pain. It is a much more enjoyable experience. Life feels better because we know how to.
What's going on, fam? It's your boy Anthony ONeal. Welcome back to the table. As y'all can see, I have
A full table.
a full table, a full room in the building today. Man, I have my nephews and niece. I used to always say I have nieces and nephews. I only have one niece. She's my favorite niece in the whole wide world because I only have one, right? You know, and then I got three nephews. Theo's the oldest. Then it's my next one, the most energetic one. He reminds me of me. We had a lot of energy growing up together. You know what I'm saying? And then the third, my little niece. And then the youngest one, the coolest one, I say. They call it the chocolate babies. But I just want y'all to meet them. They are in the building today. It's their first time actually in Maryland to my house.
Yeah.
But y'all been to my other house in Nashville, right? Yep.
Oh, that was in Nashville?
That was in Nashville. Yeah.
I went to Nashville.
You didn't know you was in Nashville when you came to my house? That is so funny. But yo, we about to have a real dope conversation with the parents, man. I just want the kids to say hello to y'all. Y'all say hello to the world. Say hello.
Hi.
Well, they've said hello to y'all so many times because all y'all follow them. Y'all don't believe that they're really my family. So I want y'all to see they're really my family. But y'all can go over into the other green room now.
Okay.
Y'all can go do your thing and play games.
Okay. Please share.
Please be careful walking across there.
Hey, grab your brother.
Uzi.
Yeah, grab her hand. Watch him. Don't trip over the cords. This is what it takes. This is what I do. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love being an uncle. I can say hello, God bless you, and I get out. Bye. You know? But y'all, welcome to today's show, man. We're gonna be diving into a topic that often gets overlooked. And I think it's an important conversation to have because while I'm not married, I do desire to be married, right? And prioritizing mental health in marriage, prioritizing a healthy marriage has a lot of nuances to it, right? And so for me, being 40, not being married, my one and only blood sister has been married now for going on, I think 13 or 14 years is one of those, to one man. And he said some things on the last show that made me completely uncomfortable. But you know what? He's a married man. He has a license to do whatever he wants to do within the confines of his home, but he's not gonna talk about that today on this show. But marriage is a beautiful journey, but let's be real. It comes with its fair share of challenges, right? Balancing the demands of parenting, managing finances, and building a life together can sometimes feel very overwhelming. And oftentimes you all would look at me and look at Evette and Glen and look at other people and just see the highlight, but you really don't know the story behind the journey, right? So we're gonna have that conversation today. It's gonna be an honest, transparent conversation. We're gonna talk about everything from money, from parenting, from relationships to all that type of stuff. So stay locked in. We appreciate you. I wanna thank today's sponsor of today's show, BetterHelp, who is very big in the mental health space. And we're gonna get to them a little bit later on because therapy is very, very, very important. But yo, welcome back to the table, y'all. Last time, Glen, you've been on this like your third.
Yes, but we were on virtually.
Virtually. You did one show in person.
Yes.
Then you and Evette did one virtually.
Yeah.
This is your first time in the studio.
Yes.
Well, it's your second.
No, I've never been here.
Yeah, you've been to the old one.
The old studio.
Yes.
So I'm very proud of you. So congratulations.
Hey, man.
It's a beautiful place.
Appreciate it, brother.
Shout out Neatness Network.
Hey, man, we trying to do it, man. Evette, welcome.
Thank you.
You know, welcome. This is my little sister, y'all. Well, she ain't little no more. She got 4 kids. I was telling her the other day, I said, Evette, you have 4 kids. I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Because I have 0.
Oh. Don't worry, I won't have any more.
Hey, no problem. I got 4, and then my other brother has 1, so I got 4 nephews and 1 niece.
Well, if we play our cards right.
Whoa, what's the problem?
No, I'm just saying, play our cards right. You can have babysitters in proximity wherever you end up.
Absolutely. Yep. That's absolutely right.
So,
Got to get married first.
yeah, that first.
Got to get married first. I got to follow Glen and Yvette's route. Glen and Yvette's route. But y'all, I want to get straight into it. I wrote a question actually on my notes. I want to bring that up because I think it's a great one to really start off with.
And we don't know any of these questions. We don't.
Zero.
Right.
Zero. Right. Y'all don't know zero of these questions. This is good though. So here are my notes. Money is often a leading cause in stress of relationships, right? So in fact, a survey by SunTrust Bank found that 35% of people experiencing relationship stress said finances were the primary cause. You all had an interesting journey. People talked about that. But as you all have been able to go from, Evette, you have a master's degree. Glenn, what's your degree in?
I just have a degree. I have a BA.
A BA. What'd you do after bachelor's though? You did.
Oh, I went to get my teaching credential.
Yeah, teaching credential. You have a teaching credential. Glen, you've built a 7-figure business. Y'all have 4 kids. I think oftentimes people will see you all on Dove and see y'all on TV and see y'all here. I want to go off to the very beginning to when you weren't where you are today, where you all are thriving and building something of substance. When it comes to married couples, how did you all want to get married, build a business, and have kids? And how was the money process in that as a couple?
I feel like we did it clumsily. Is that a word?
Clumsily. Talk about that.
Yeah. I don't think there was really a plan
Okay.
as into being like, man, I really like you, you really like me, and whatever we're gonna do together is gonna be great.
Okay.
Who knows what it's gonna be? But there is a lot of learning, right, that we have to learn each other, right? Because I'm very ambitious, but I'm very ambitious to the things that I want to do, right? But if I don't want to work at this place, like there was a point in time where she was working and I was like doing music at home, sitting by the fireplace writing rhymes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So your dad came over and was like, hey, y'all got to get ready for these student loan bills to come in because they're coming. and I was, I had my feet up, you know, I looked up and I'm like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, it's going to be about $60,000 coming.
So wait, Evette, I thought Dad paid some of the student loans for you though. He didn't pay none of them?
He may have paid one of them.
But y'all had to pay.
But we paid my student loans off, yeah.
Yeah. And so we, like, I was like, she was like, you know, well, you got to get a job. And I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't want to work at Target. I wanted to work somewhere that I felt like, you know.
It was you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I had a conversation with the pastor at the time, and he was like, you have to prove to her that you are willing to work anywhere. And I'm like, why? I married her. She should know. You know, he was like, yeah, but she doesn't know you that way. Like, you have to prove to her that you're willing to do anything. Wow. And I felt like she should just trust me. Like, I was very kind of entitled. Okay. So, like, you should know, right? But it was like, nah, bro. And then I started, what did I do first? The CNA job. Where I was taking care of these old people and I was wiping butts and driving.
I didn't even know you had a job.
Yeah. I had a job.
When we were married, you didn't know you had a job?
I know he had a job when y'all first got married, but I thought when he left to go with Theo, I didn't know he went back and did something else.
Oh, so this is before that. So
this is
before that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we first got married and I wasn't working like that. Like, I had a job, but then I wanted to be closer to home, and I thought I was trying to do music full time. Okay. And then that wasn't popping off as fast, and so I started working as a caregiver. Dope. And then that was very depressing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd come home and she'd be like, how was work? And I'd be like, you don't even believe what I did today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would this dude every morning, he would eat prunes, he would eat Metamucil, and he would have coffee just so he could have a bowel movement. And then he'd rush, like, speed with his walker to the toilet. I had to chase him. And then he'd turn around and just go. And it all over the back of the toilet seat. Some got it in between. Like, you know how, like, you wear a glove and you got a sleeve? Yeah. And this low spot right here? Yeah. Poop. Right there. You know what I'm saying? And so she'd come home like, how was your day? And I'd be like, I don't even want to talk about it. So it's like, I had to, and I would do any job. I was driving a taxi before Uber. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, Glen. It was wild. And Evette was.
I feel like for me, I understood that those were not things that he wanted to do. And I was like, hey, just get a job at Target.
Yeah.
I think you would make an excellent educator. Why don't you go get your teaching degree?
Yeah.
I was trying to encourage him to go to barber school at one point. Like, I was trying to encourage him to at least pursue some sort of trade or education so that he could find a job that he enjoyed, because I would come home and I'd be like, hey, this is what happened today. I'm so excited about,
You know,
Because you enjoyed what you...
I enjoyed my job.
Yeah.
And so my desire for him was that he would work somewhere that he could take
enjoyed.
pride in, and that at the end of the day, if I asked him, because he literally got to the point where he's like, please don't ask me about my day. Like, literally got to that point.
and she's doing her dream, right? She's working at the middle school, the high school within her community, the Hoop Middle School she graduated from. Like, she's a BSU and ASB. Like, she's like doing this thing she loves to do, and I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know what I want to do. I have this skill of rapping, but it wasn't like
Popping off.
No, it wasn't popping off. You know what I'm saying?
It popped off, but I mean...
Yeah, it popped off later. So it popped off when the seasons changed.
Exactly.
So once we got to the point where I was working on bass and doing this job, and I was really trying to go up the rank in this position, we found out we were having Theo. Yeah, we had Theo, and then a year later we had Uriah. Yeah. About a year later we had Uriah, and Evette was like, I really want you to be a stay-at-home dad. I think it'd be great. And I just was like, that's gonna be boring.
That's the way it went, though.
Well, it was, okay, go ahead.
I don't think I said I really want you to be a stay-at-home dad. I just said, I think it was more along the lines of, hey, your income is basically being eaten up by childcare. Mm-hmm. Why don't you stay home with Theo or the boys? Because at that time, it was like when Raya came, then it would really be eaten up by a childcare. Why don't you stay home and work on music?
Yeah.
Because I had given Glen, you're Glen. I had given Glen like 5 years. I said, hey, I don't know at what point I gave him 5 years.
You didn't give me 5 years? We said we would revisit the conversation.
Yes, we said we would revisit the conversation about music after 5 years to see like where he was going in his career. And I think we were coming up on that 5-year mark. And I was kind of like, okay, well, this is it. Yeah. Stay home with these boys, work on this, put more energy into the music so that we can see if it really can become something.
Right.
From a, because I'm learning new stuff too about my brother-in-law, which is so dope. From a man's perspective, Glen, how did that impact your pride? Because there's a lot of men out there in the world who would not have done what you've done. They wouldn't work the jobs that they do not want to work, just to show their wife that, I'm willing to do what I got to do for our family. Because at that time, it was just y'all, right? And then I'm curious to answer that question. I'm curious, Evette, from you, there are some ladies who have said, nah, this music ain't making no money, quit today. But you was like, yo, I'm gonna give you 5 years to pursue your thing. We had this, not given like it was permission, but it's like, hey, we agree 5 years from now, let's reassess where we are. When some ladies, especially black sisters, respectfully, would have been, nah, this ain't making us no money, quit and go do this. Like, how did y'all navigate that season and it didn't impact y'all's relationship? And y'all still here, what, 13 years later? 14 years. I
would say, I'm a man in accountability. Okay. I'm not just a man. Okay. I'm submitted to other men, and I have people who she could be like, I can't get to him right now. What do you think? Am I tripping? Wow. And then they'll be like, oh, absolutely, you're not tripping. Or here's what you're not thinking about. Because it's not so much, like, I'm offended by her question, right? The question isn't offensive. The fact that I don't have an answer is offensive. Ooh. It exposes the fact that I'm clueless. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's your plan? Yeah. I don't know. What are we gonna do in 5 years? I don't know. You know, is this music gonna work? I don't know. The real answer was, by any means necessary, yes. But I couldn't say that because it wasn't my dream. Got you. You know what I mean? Got you. Now there's a lot of stuff here because there is also my intention and then her lack of security or awareness that prevents me from attacking. Yeah. Right? So there's also a little bit to expand on there, but for now I'll say I was submitted. I was in a relationship with people who would just be able to be like, well, listen, I know your desire is this, but you really haven't proven anything to her, big dog. Only thing you did was marry her. And we just posted a picture from our honeymoon, And then we posted a picture like right afterwards of like what we look like now. And I was like, I didn't even know this person.
Wow.
I didn't even know what
I didn't
even know what my vows, who I was committing vows to. Like,
Wow.
like now, the vows, I'm like, oh, how could I even promise that I'm gonna have and hold forever?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And forsaking all others. Like, I didn't even know what that meant back then.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a different level now. And I would say to Evette, you know, because he asked the question, I think Evette is extremely gracious. And I think, you know, being around your family and your community, you know, like I think you guys come from a place of believing in someone's dream. You know what I mean? But I don't know, you speak to that, babe.
I'm a little like hesitant to speak.
Okay.
But it is a part of my story. I feel like we grew up with a father who was
Very.
an aspiring entrepreneur.
Still is, yeah.
Yes. And a lot of pursuits didn't necessarily make it into full fruition.
A lot of them didn't.
Okay. And so
It's no disrespect.
I know it's no disrespect. I'm just saying what it was. So when I married someone who in essence was an entrepreneur, it was very hard for me to not be taken back to like the version of little Evette that saw financial struggle and what that burden looked like on my mother. I didn't want to become another like iteration of that per se, of that aspect of their relationship.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know if they listen to it or
No,
not.
that's real.
But
I mean, that's real. Mama know how we roll.
Yeah.
We've said that to Mama.
Okay. So I say that I was not only like in relationship with this man that I loved and wanted to believe in, but I was also dealing with that reality that I had lived through and experienced. And so for me, I will admit too that it was awesome that Glen was submitted to like to mentorship and accountability partners and all the things, because I did feel like he, like if I did say something or if I needed to run something by someone else, be like, hey, am I tripping?
Yeah.
Or is he tripping? Or are we both tripping?
Yeah.
We had that. As far as Glen though, one thing that has really helped me be his partner is that he has done what he said.
Facts.
He has said, I'm going to do this, and then he does it. If we agree that there's like a 5-year trial run type thing, when the 5 years is over, we revisit the conversation and we come up with a new game plan. So the thing that I love about Glen is that he's not going to move without consulting me. He's not going to do things without considering me. And I do admit that it has taken me a long time to come to that level of trust with him. But everything my husband has said he's going to do, he has done. And if it didn't work out, we together have developed a new game plan.
So let's stay right there, because you're absolutely right. I mean, my mama know I love him, and the truth is that I think that's one of the main reasons why I work as hard as I work, is because I don't want to provide what I saw growing up from pops, right? And I didn't want to fail. Like, I didn't want to say I was going to do something and then it didn't turn out to that. And then my wife is stressed because of the decisions that I made. And I'm not even married yet.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm curious, though, when you started seeing things, because as entrepreneurs, me and Glen are, we've probably failed more than we've succeeded. When you saw things failing, how did that conversation go within you and the family? Like, what? Because there's a lot of people right now who are watching it, and they're watching their husbands, they're watching their boyfriends, and it's not happening. How do you have that conversation with him without discouraging his dreams, but being honest and saying, hey, we still got a family to provide for over here, but I still want you to win and succeed? How did you have those conversations? 'Cause I think those conversations got y'all to where y'all are today.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I would answer that question. I feel like that's a question that Glen would have to
I think you can answer it.
You I feel like one of the, and I don't know if this is true because men are different.
Yeah,
So
we are.
I'm talking to two men.
Yeah.
So men are different. And I would say that my ultimate goal has always been to not make him feel like he's alone in it. Like he's not the sole person that's responsible for providing for our family in whatever way. However, I will say that I do believe he feels like he's alone.
I think all men eventually feel like that because it's our burden.
Yeah, it's a weight that y'all carry that I can't necessarily say, hey, whatever. Because even in my pursuit, like I have pursuits where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this and it's going to help, bring income into the house. And he's like, girl, that is not where I need you right now.
Focus.
That's good. Why would you say that though?
Well, we make what she would make in a weekend. We can make her whole salary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a teacher.
As a teacher. So she's like, you need me to go back to school? I'll go back to school. And I'm
I
like,
see what you mean.
And I'll be like, we'll have like health insurance and all the things.
nah, but it's so I'm gonna push back
Okay.
on what you said.
Okay.
So are you talking about, so you asked a question, you said during the rough seasons. Are you talking about just recently our rough season or times in the past where we
Just in general.
So I think there is like Evette knows how to work. Like she works hard. She knows exactly what she needs to do. She's the first person in the door. She's the last one out of the door.
Always
She's almost
that way.
obsessed with her job. When she has then she knows what she has to do to win.
Yeah.
You can't stop her.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? For me, I wouldn't say I'm an entrepreneur. I would say I'm a creative dreamer
I can
that
see it.
needs an entrepreneur to kind of help me focus on business.
I got you.
So I'm a super creative person.
Okay.
And while, Yvette's kind of like, you got 5 years. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, cool. That's a lot of time. I can, you know what I mean? Like, so I would say that the seasons where Evette would can see a drop, I think Evette would kind of panic, and we'd go on these walks of her just being like, hey, I wonder if I can steer him this way. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, she was trying to encourage the right
Not the quotation mark.
behavior or mindset to figure out where I'm going. Because the whole time, in the beginning of our marriage, she's, what is your plan? Where are we going? What do you want to do?
Right.
That's the type of question she would ask me all the
Facts.
time. And so,
Not like that. I don't feel like it was that aggressive.
no, it wasn't like that.
But that's how I probably receive.
No. It wasn't. It wasn't received. It would be, but it was very.
No, be honest. You don't have to.
So we would be walking on a hike, and when we get to the top of the hike,
you literally meant a
that's
white
when,
walk.
Oh.
That's when she would ask, at the top of the hike. When I'm out of breath, hot, annoyed. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of traction. You can't get really fast. You can ride down the hill.
Right.
I just really believe that you'll be a great DJ forever. I think we can make a DJ business. And I'm like, I do not want to do that. She's like, oh, I believe you should be such a great substitute teacher, or you'll be a great educator and the kids would love you.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that,
Right.
And so that's when things shifted. Now, when I'm standing on my square and I know exactly where I need to be,
Right.
right? I'm like, she doesn't even have anything to say.
Okay.
So it's so interesting that her tone changed from what do you want to do to something's missing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We get into a place where you're like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, man? No. So when things were going extremely well, and then you were like, well, I don't know if this is gonna be healthy. To grow up with a camera in the house all the time. You know what I'm saying? She starts to get a little timid, and I'm like, well, the plan is this. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
My tone, because I grew up with a single mother,
Okay.
and I listened to women's voices,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Probably a little too much, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'm listening and I'm checking her pulse and being like, well, what do you think? What do we need to do? And,
Yeah.
and she's like, well, I want us off of YouTube in a year and a half.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? She was having these conversations with herself because of she knows what it's like to see a dreamer out of control.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage both of you that what you experience is not what you have now. You know what I'm saying? So even even you saying oh man, I don't want to my wife to ever have to worry about lacking or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a trauma. You work from that trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we're paying for the things that happened in your past, and I'm paying for the stuff that happened in my past. So it's so interesting how all that childhood trauma is now what we consume.
Yeah.
It's where we get our energy from. It's how we stay motivated and all that stuff. So it's been a very interesting season in marriage. This whole time, we've just been learning each other.
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at it. 56% of marriages are ending because of that. Right? And my biggest fear is, while my mother, I've always said this publicly. I said my mom is the strongest woman I've ever met. Evette is the second. Because I've seen the dynamics of them. And my mom would work 3 jobs just to make sure that we had a Christmas. You know what I'm saying? She would work 2 jobs outside of Christmas just so we can eat and go to Six Flags with our church.
Yeah.
You know, so I watched my mom work real hard. And I can't say that my dad didn't work hard, but I didn't see him put in as much effort for the family financially wise than my mom, because he was dreaming. He was saying, hey, I'm gonna strike gold over here. And I was like, yeah, but you never struck gold in that kind of way. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I don't want to be married. And then I'm like, she got to work 3 jobs just so our kids can have a good Christmas. I want to put all that weight on me, which I want to bring it to this narrative, because now y'all are here and y'all have just impacted so many family lives. And y'all, they have a course that I think I really want y'all to I want y'all to check out that is so good, because 14 years of marriage, going with 4 kids, building a business, they've learned a lot about marriage that I think we in the dating world should take this course before we get married. And I even think before you even get engaged, right? Like, just to have this conversation.
Yeah, I feel like it's really good for people who are single, because it informs what conversations you should be having as you're dating somebody. Yeah. And I even think it's good for couples who are within 1 to 3 years of marriage.
For real.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're married and if you're like a relatively newlywed and you've been married for 3 years or less, maybe even 5 years or less, these are conversations that you should be having. Man,
that's so good. So we're going to link that course inside of the today's show notes. It's a great course, very affordable. And if you really want a healthy marriage that will surpass through the rough times, man, get this one. But so I was dating a young lady, this is years ago, and she turned me off because she said something. And y'all are married with 4 kids. And she cussed me out when I responded. I told her, hey, let's go out. Let's get away for a weekend. Her child is 3. Child was 3. Okay, 3. And she said, no, I'm not leaving my kid for a weekend. I was like, for real? So that sparked another conversation. I was like, so what happens if we were to get married and 1 year in, first year in, clearly you just had a baby. We ain't having sex like that. So you're telling me like a year in, we can't just get away from the kid? No, I will not leave my kid until 5 years. My kid, it's her exact words. My kid is my priority, not my husband. Ooh. My kid needs me more than my husband needs me. My husband should know that our child needs us more than our needs. And I went on and I did a study. I started researching. And the study showed that the average couple within having a child spend 9% of their time together during the week. That the majority of the time is working. After work, it is with the kid. And couples are arranging intimacy schedules and less time with each other. Y'all got 4. You know?
Yeah.
How was this for you all? Because I'm seeing that a lot of people are saying, like, my kid is my priority, not my spouse. And I just don't believe that is right. But I'm not married, so I can't put a stamp behind that.
It's definitely not right. As someone who used to have that same mentality.
You used to have that same mentality, Evette?
Yeah.
You put Theo and Uriah before Glenn?
Hell yeah. Sorry, heck yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like these kids can't do nothing for themselves. You know how to make yourself a sandwich or you know how to do whatever, so take care of yourself while I take care of them. Oftentimes, I would make their plate before I make his. I would I would like make sure their needs were met because, I mean, and I do believe there are seasons, like when they are a newborn baby, of course, you're going to prioritize the child. But I have come to know through lots of conversations with this guy, and even just from experience, because it does start to, it's like you get to a point where you realize that at the end of the day, I think it got to the point when I started to realize this in my own familial, like family of origin situation, is that at some point, it's just going to be mom and dad, and the kids are going to be gone. And so, like, if I didn't do anything while these kids were in my house to prioritize and nurture this relationship, then at the end of the day, when they're all gone, am I going to be looking at a stranger? Am I going to be looking at someone whom I love and adore? Or, you know what I mean? So through a lot of, like, counseling, marriage therapy, couples therapy, mentorship, and all the things, I have come to understand that this relationship is my priority. And modeling that for my children is the best thing I could do for them.
It helps.
So that's not to say to neglect your children as a result of prioritizing that. I think you can do both and. However, I do think a lot of us women tend to prioritize the kids because their needs are easier to identify and meet than it is to do our spouses.
What's going on, family? Hey, this show is sponsored by my friends at BetterHelp. This is Anthony ONeal here with a quick question. What are your self-care non-negotiables? You know, those things you never skip, no matter how packed your schedule is. Maybe for you, it's leg day at the gym, or even more crucial, therapy day. When life gets hectic with your projects, kids' activities, and a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to let your own priorities slide. Even when you know what makes us happy, it can be hard to carve out the time. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, that's when non-negotiables like therapy become more important than ever. If you're thinking about starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's all online, making it super convenient and flexible, fitting right into your busy schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and you'll be matched with a licensed therapist who is right for you. And if you feel like you're not clicking, hey, check this out. You can switch therapists at any time with no extra cost. Therapy isn't just for those who faced major trauma in the past. It's also a great tool for those learning positive coping skills, setting boundaries, and becoming the best version of yourself. Thousands of people have found value in it. Just check out their reviews. So, never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/AO today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/AO. Take control of your mental health and make time for you. You deserve it. Do you think it's easier for men to understand that than it is women? Because I tell you this much, my dad, biological father, so for those y'all don't know, me and Evette have the same mom, different fathers. Biological father told me one thing when I moved in with him. I used to treat Terry, my stepmom, I hate that word, my other mom, bad. He came in my room and said, I would send your behind home, back to your family. I will not let you disrespect my wife in my house. I will choose my wife over you. I was 14. I was rough. When I got older, I said, Dad, would you have kicked me out if I only had you and Mom? He said, no. But because you could go home, I would send you back home. Because I know your mom would take you back. I can never let my wife feel like my child can treat her any old kind of way and I have his back over having hers. That woke me up. I ain't never disrespect Terry Ross after that because I didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I was like,
were we that bad?
I was that bad. You weren't that bad. But yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I feel like that is a different dynamic. And that is why you should take the premarital advantage. I don't know what camera is more.
Yeah.
Because I do think that that's tough. That's tough for me to hear. And I understand his heart. And Glen, I think, has a similar experience as far as stepmom and biological father experience. Because that's not an option for everyone.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you don't necessarily want your child to feel like they aren't loved and welcomed, but I don't know, I guess that's just different.
Yeah.
But what did you have to say, my love?
Well, so first of all, the name of the course is called Premarital Advantage.
I said that.
Right? I know, but he didn't.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all good. Premarital Advantage, thanks for shouting that out. And so the reason why we created that is so we could be those people you are accountable to, right? So it's not just like you almost have like a mentor couple that you can journey through some of these conversations with, so you're not alone while you're making these decisions.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I do think men understand that, right? Because we are called, right, to be a husband to one wife.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So there's only one place I can get a soft touch. There's only one place I can get a caress. There's only one place I can get a kiss. There's only one place, right? And if I'm working all day, the kids are constantly on her.
Right.
Right? Breastfeeding, da-da-da-da. And sometimes I get home and I just look at her and I see the kids tugging at her and I'm like, I'm gonna just leave you alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna just, you know what I mean? Because she looks like she's been through it. She's like, no, I want you to touch me. I'm kind of like, man, like, I know, but it's just been a lot. You know what I mean?
Your touch is the only touch I want.
Right.
I mean, not only, but you know.
Right. But there is a level of, I understand that, but also I'm a grown man and I can recognize being mature through seasons. When you have a baby, it's just not like that. It's the baby's gonna come first.
Right.
It just is what it is. And anybody who's sitting here like, I'm the husband,
Right.
you're supposed to put me, not this infant. It's like, you're ridiculous.
Right,
Like,
right.
you really need help.
Right.
Seriously, if you've ever said that, you need help. You know what I mean? But
3 years old.
3 years old, there is okay, so here's one thing I wanna say. There's a caveat. Because sometimes you can't leave your kids alone with them.
Anybody, yeah.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's a danger thing, right? There's a consent thing, there's a body acknowledgement, awareness thing. Some kids don't know.
Right.
And a 3-year-old definitely doesn't know.
Facts.
I do think it's important for you guys to get away, but if you're gonna have that, then you have to, the correct response would have been, how can I make this happen? And what would it take? Because it's just childcare.
Yeah.
And if that means you have to fly someone else out, or grandma out, so that they have another room,
Yeah.
then that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But that may be the cost.
Facts.
Right? And depending on how your life is set up, some people can afford that, you know? But the question was offensive because you didn't have an answer.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I understand that, but I do disagree that your children should come first, especially at our age, our kids. Because our kids are like, they get jealous when Yvette's like, yeah, it's dad all day. You know what I'm saying? And they all look at us like, that's messed up. Like,
They literally say that.
it's like from a sitcom. They just like, shame on you, mom. And they're like, nah, you gotta understand something. Like, I'm gonna lay down my life for everybody here, right? And this is the only place that I can feel like safe.
Right.
Like I can fall apart, I can fall back, right? Like I can like truly like just fall apart, you know? And though the kids want to hold me up, they can't, you know? Even when Brittany passed away a few years ago and I was sobbing on the floor in front of her house, the kids were like, what is happening? You know, and they were trying to get it. But it's like, I literally didn't know what to do. And a lot of times in men's life, we are lost. We know, of course, what to do with work sometimes, but we don't know, you know, how we're supposed to respond to rejection, or how we're supposed to pick ourselves up after we find out we have an illness, or there's certain things we don't know how to function.
Right.
And a lot of times it's because we're not in community, right?
Yeah.
But your safest community is with your spouse.
Yes.
And this is my safest place.
Yeah.
So but what's crazy though is that, you know, sometimes it's not just kids.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's community, sometimes it's other family members.
Yeah.
That, you know, your wife may put
Yeah.
in front of other people. I mean, in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, though my heart is telling me this is rejection and I may want to leave,
Right.
my responsibility is to work through it and help, you know, my wife see that.
Yeah.
You know?
How did what does that look like to have that healthy conversation once kids start coming in? So now you have kids coming in, y'all are building a business, you're trying to balance between kid healthy and y'all's relationship healthy. What does that balance look like?
There is no such thing as balance.
Yeah.
You know, you say, you talking about, the kids and then y'all. It's not just, it's the kids, it's the sports, it's homeschool.
Yes.
Right? We got to figure out insurance,
Yeah.
stuff like that. The kids got to, we got a dog, we got a building
Yep.
we manage. We
Yep.
have our marriage, and then we both have our own businesses.
Yeah.
And so I love the illustration of juggling,
Yes.
right? Because some things are on the way up, some things are falling, some things are in your hand.
That's good.
And so just keep juggling.
Yeah.
I like what I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm gonna interrupt you.
Of course.
My friend Tico says, she's like, just make sure you got the glass balls. Like even the rubber balls will bounce back up and you can catch them at some point, but don't let the glass balls fall. And like Glen and the kids are the glass balls. You know what I'm saying? So they are always in my hand, or, maybe sometimes one's up in the air, but I'm catching it every single time. But I agree. I do not believe in a balancing act. I believe that it's a juggling act.
Yeah. And I love how you say you're prioritizing. Like, hey, if I'm going to drop anything, it's going to be the rubber ball.
Yeah.
But it won't be Glenn or my kids. Wow.
Or myself.
What would you say to single people then? If I have, like me, no kids, no wife, what's my glass ball?
Your mental health.
Your faith.
Your faith.
Your mental health, physical health, your faith.
Yeah.
And then whoever you're submitted to.
Okay.
There's a child outside this door.
That's fine. Who's that, Anaya?
It sounded like Anaya.
Anaya.
Okay.
Maybe she was going to the
Bathroom. Yeah, Michelle will get them. That's why we have kids in the studio, yo. If y'all watch their show, you'll just see the kids just walking behind them, recording and stuff like that. It's so dope.
When I think about like my singlehood, like what I wish I would have done before marrying Glen, I genuinely believe that like therapy should have been a priority. The work that you can do as a single person unpacking your family of origin is so valuable because it helps you to grow in ways of understanding about yourself and how you interact with the people around you and your future spouse beyond what you can even comprehend. I think it was when we started therapy and we both were having these aha moments about like the dynamics of our childhood relationships with our parents and how we showed up in our family of origin and how it's impacting our marriage. And that insight that we were able to gain was so valuable, and I believe was a turning point for us to make it to year 14. Because who knows if we would have made it to year 14 had
I
we
don't
not.
think so.
I think
You wouldn't have made it to, y'all don't think y'all would have got a divorce if y'all did not?
we would have either been suffering, I don't even know if it would have been in silence. I think we have both gone through seasons of where we've suffered in silence in marriage.
Without therapy, one of us would have left.
Yeah. I don't know if it would have been me though, because I
probably would have.
I think Glen would have left, but not me. I would have just been stuck.
Stuck, miserable.
Yeah. But I feel like, because Glen was saying that, we saw these pictures of us on our honeymoon. It was like, we didn't even know those people. Like, I didn't even know that version of me because I was conforming to the world around me. And so I feel like I'm finally coming to my own self and identity in a way that allows me to show up authentically for him and still stand in my truth about like my own hopes and wishes and desires for the vision that we have for our family. Because I think sometimes as a wife, we can be like, okay, what's your plan? What do you want to do? Okay, let's go. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is I have thoughts and opinions and goals and dreams too that I want to come to fruition. And as partners, we should be moving toward an aligned goal or purpose.
Did y'all say that therapy helped you all get in alignment better and quicker? Or would you say therapy just more so helped y'all's personal relationship?
I would just say it unlocks language for you to be able to communicate and speak to yourself.
Okay.
Like, speak to yourself. Again, I could be like, I am tripping.
Right.
She's not like that.
Right.
And our couples therapist is now my therapist. So he could be like, that's not who she is.
Wow.
You're tripping.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so because in the same thing.
Yeah,
with
and
your
then
therapist.
we ended up getting a new couples therapist when we let him have our couples therapist. And then she's now my therapist.
Yeah.
So our therapists know the
each other.
dynamics of our relationship.
They probably talk about us when they get together because
Because the one referred the other
Yeah.
one. But
but we're in a place where I think it gives you language, but also I know that like if Evette does not understand something, right, and we're having a crisis, it's not going to be too long. It may be like a month because she'll have a conversation with her therapist and another person. You know what I'm saying? So now she's got therapist and a mentor of sorts and people that help her. So it's like we're not even dealing with stuff for that long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
And the same thing with me. Like I'm just like, dang man, I'm having this problem. I don't know how to fix it.
Right.
My therapist is giving me tools to work with it. So I'm working through my own problems on my own, right? But what happens is, like, you have therapy as a single person and you get married, and the things that didn't really matter or stuff you didn't have to think about
Facts.
all come up to the surface
Facts.
because this new person is being like, that's not gonna work.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So then your therapist has to help you like figure out where this other, because you have things that's going on, you don't even know they exist.
yeah.
Because it's just, you've been living your life, you know? A beautiful life, by the way.
Facts.
We're walking around.
Yeah.
The toilet is very nice.
It's warm.
Yeah.
It just sits on it. It's a warm skin.
Yeah.
Too much information. Too much information about we talking about therapy.
No, but wait. This morning I was washing dishes and the sink was off.
Oh Lord.
But I put my hand. Did you know it's an automatic to turn the water on? You knew that?
We saw it last night.
Oh, I
Therapy.
did
Back
not.
on therapy.
So anyway, therapy. Yeah. So therapy is going to help you see and create language for yourself. So even now,
Facts.
my therapist and I meet less because I can do it his job. I can ask myself questions like he does.
Yes.
So why are you thinking like that? Well, because I feel like, no one cares. But why do you feel like that? What's the evidence to make you believe that no one cares?
Facts.
There is really no evidence. So why do you think like that? Okay. And then I'll do that and I won't have therapy.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, I think I've been doing therapy for a while. I went every now and then, but then I've told it to the world. I told it to Evette. When Evette went away for that long period of time and Evette came back a different woman, I know in y'all's home, y'all probably had to go through a whole lot more because it was Evette. But I was like, dang, my sister is different. We had a hard conversation when I was in California. And I was like, when Evette left, I sat there for about an hour, prayed for her, prayed for y'all's family, and prayed for our family. Then I said, God, I need to do that. And then the next year, I went on my silent retreat. And that was because I saw how impactful that was for Evette. And I was like, well, God, just being honest, I don't want to get married, have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And then have to take my family for a spin.
Yeah.
Because without saying too much, I saw what it did to the family. And I'm like, well, God, wait a minute. Maybe I can do that now, take myself for a spin, get better. And then whenever I do meet my wife, I'm healthier, not completely 100% there because like you said, I think when I get married, some things will come to the top that just can't come to the top right now because I'm not aware of it.
Yeah.
But at least by the time when it comes to the top, I didn't know how to ask myself the right questions. Like, okay, wait. Because the reason why I'm not married, and I've said this before, it's not because of the lack of good women. It's because of the lack of maturity inside of Anthony ONeal, who had to evolve and grow and work on some things that God knew that if I would have got married then, Anthony would have ruined probably one, the relationship, and two, damaged that woman. And I was like, wow. And going through therapy, you're right, man. I've had to ask myself some hard questions. Not just about me, but even the people I was around that I called friends. Like, okay, but you're not a friend. And I'm like, why did I even call you a friend? I even had to ask myself, like, why was I offended by this person? When I really wasn't offended by them or their question or their statement, I was offended because I knew what they were asking me or telling me was the truth. And I was scared to have that conversation. But would y'all say that therapy, well, you've already said that therapy has kept you all together, but has it made y'all a stronger couple? to do bigger and better things?
I don't know if it's about what we do or like what comes from this. It's about like I can hear her, she can hear me. We laugh through pain. It is a much more enjoyable experience. Life feels better because we know how to think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so what comes from it, it will be fruit that comes from it that may only come from our children.
Yeah.
It may come from through money, it may come through relationship, it may come through success in somebody's standards.
Yeah.
But truly, it's just a better opportunity for us to communicate. Like the fact that she went through that long retreat, you went, if your wife has to go, you'll get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even like, it gives us grace for other people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And you know what else? Which I'm big on, is like, oh, I'm having an issue with someone, I'm not dealing with them. I'm dealing with the 7-year-old version of them. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize that my shoes and my shoes are too clean to be for all the trauma to spill on my feet. I gotta back up and give you your space and time because I can't let it get me dirty.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just giving me understanding to be like, this person isn't there yet.
This is really good because I think what I sense from y'all, and I've always said this to Glenn, I apologized to him on the last show. Like, I had to apologize to my brother-in-law because I was confused about him in the very beginning. But I was confused because I didn't understand the dynamic of their relationship, right? And then two, one thing I've always said, one thing I respect about Glenn is that from the time I met Glenn to today, and I say this respectfully, and I'm gonna sum it up, don't F with Evette and don't F with them children. You know what I'm saying? Because like Glenn doesn't play about Evette Henry. He don't care if you are the biological daddy. He don't care if you're the biological mama, the biological brother. He will let you know, that's my wife. That is my responsibility. Thank you for raising her. Thank you for being her brother. But that's mine now. And I think if most men had that same feeling about their wife and their kids, I think our marriages would be so much stronger, man.
Go ahead, babe.
I was just gonna say, and the thing about Glenn is he's always been that way. And even if I'm wrong, he'll let me know. Like, he won't let y'all know, but he will have a challenging conversation with me behind the scenes and say, hey,
Wow.
are you sure? Da, 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 da.
Wow.
Like, there will be pushback. And so...
And how do y'all deal with that? So how does that result publicly then? So if he says, hey, babe, I don't know if that was right. Do you then come back in public and fix that? Let's say if it was a public situation. Do you come back?
I don't think we've had those types of situations.
Okay.
But I'm just saying more so along the lines of he will encourage me to think about something different.
Differently. Okay.
He'd be like, maybe this is what they were thinking when yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then it is up to me to go back to the person and have the conversation.
And I treat her that way out of a trauma.
God.
Right? It's a trauma response because grew up in a single parent home.
Right.
Went to visit my dad and my stepmom and my sister in the summertime.
Yeah.
So I had this duality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Section 8 to Section 8, essentially, but a little bit better because it was 2 parents in the home. But I'm trying to redeem my image of family. It's very important for me. It's almost my life's mission.
Yeah.
Like, what is a family really? Right. What is my responsibility as a husband?
Right.
What is her responsibility as a wife?
Yeah.
The children, how do I care for them? So I'm literally, all I'm doing is trying to redeem it for myself, for my 8-year-old version of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm committed to her, and it's almost like I don't have anybody else. I don't got no backup plan or a side chick or my mama I'm gonna go run to. None of that. It's you, and that's it.
That's it.
And the kids can stick around too. But it's really just you. You know what I'm saying? And I've been like that since, like, I choose you, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it took a while for her to be like, oh shoot, he's really like here. I feel like she's also crazy about me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, a little obsessed. Right. So it's like, it's
You didn't
interesting.
have to use that
That's
word.
weird.
But it's not how you're thinking of it. It's more in, like,
Came
like,
off a little like that though.
It's like, you know how, like, dang, I can't even describe it. But
I just love you.
yeah, she just loves me.
True
Like,
love.
she has to be around me
Yeah.
all the time, you know. And so that place is very good for us. And I feel like we're, you know, definitely in God's will in our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Which feels amazing. Like I see people who, you know, somebody asked me like, man, you ain't never cheated on Evette, not once. I'm like, no. I know that some people would be like, oh, you could probably find somebody else, or you could, you know, when things aren't clicking. But it's like, man, if this is your greatest asset,
Right.
If you love them how they're supposed to be loved,
Yeah.
she'll be everything that you need her to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
If you're really building something of substance with your partner, how is a piece of booty even capturing your attention when you should be focused over here?
Well, it's also the commitment. Like, she knows me too. You know what I'm saying? So like, there are just seasons where, you know, if I'm always at work, it's harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm on tour, or if she's away for 3 weeks, like, it's just hard. You know what I mean? But it's still like, I'm committed to the mission. Right? You know what I'm saying? Not the plan can change, but the mission always stays the same.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I was thinking about it earlier, like, man, how do we make those vows being so young? You know? And so sometimes you just got to rethink about those things and like recommit yourself to those same things.
That's the only reason why I never got married. Not never, but I didn't get married. And I'll be honest, because I didn't know if I wanted to only deal with just one woman at that time. And I thought, some people say, well, that's dumb. No, I think that was a very mature move for me to say that at that season, because I didn't get married. And I have friends who have cheated on their spouses, and I'm like, how? Like, why did you even get married if you wanted to have relations with different kind of women? Just stay dating, stay single. But why? I'm fearful to make a vow to God, and I fail that vow. I just really, really am. Now I'm like you. Man, shoot, once I meet this one, listen here, girl. God gonna have to kill me and bring me home. Cause I ain't getting a divorce. I don't want a divorce. I don't like the sound of divorce.
All right, so earlier I said I would have left. And I think that, you know, we used to say, like, Evette used to be like, divorce is not an option. Divorce is not an option. And then we started to be like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you just don't know how to think. Like, you don't know what you actually can take anymore. And when you're in a relationship and everything you do seems like you're doing something wrong, and you just can't get it right, like, she's been there. You know, where I'm just kind of like, yo, I just need you to do this. And she's like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what you're asking me to do. And I'm like, we can't communicate. We didn't have the tools. So I don't know if I like look down on people who get divorces. I don't think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? Because just like you said, if one of those relationships would have worked out, you could have married anybody. You know what I'm saying? Any of those relationships you had before. It was by the grace of God that you didn't. But even still, if you would have made that decision, I believe you would have rose up to where you needed to be in order to make it work. You know what I mean?
As I matured in the power.
Right, as you mature, and then someone has the grace for you to do that. But I do believe that there is a season that happens in marriage sometimes where you just kind of like, I can't do this no more. You know, and I've been there. Evette's been there. You know what I mean? I remember one time, she was upset. She was grieving. This was, I don't know when this was, but I feel like this is when I bought the car.
Oh.
Yeah, she was grieving about something and going through something, and she snapped at me for something. And I just was like, what was I supposed to say to not have you snap at me? Right? And she just looked at me, she was like, and it was like, I don't know what it was. And she emailed me and our therapist, and said, I'm leaving. I need time, I'm leaving.
And what I meant.
Hold on. That's what I got via email.
Right.
She could have called, she could have texted. She took the van.
No, I wish we could pull up the email because I said a little bit more.
All right, you can look for it. So she left with the van.
Wow.
Sent the email, and then she turned off her location.
No, bro.
I turned off my phone. I turned off my phone.
She turned off her location.
Yeah,
so when I'm looking for the location, I can't see if she took this. So I was like, oh, we need a car because my wife has abandoned us.
This man went and bought
A Ford F-150 with 60s. I always wanted a truck.
The same day?
I had my assistant drop me off at the Ford dealership at 4 p.m. I was like, I'm not leaving till I get
No,
the truck.
listen, Anthony, I was probably gone for like maybe 4 hours. And that's all I was doing. We had a nanny at the time. I said, hey, I'll be back before your shift is over.
Yeah.
But I need to go.
She didn't tell me that.
I didn't tell him that. But I was like, I need to go. I went to the beach and just sat there and journaled and read the word. Came back before the nanny was gone. When I got home,
You had
this
a whole
guy
Ford car.
had a whole truck in the driveway. I'm like, what the? I was so pissed. And to this day, every time I get in that car and I'm trying to drive it, I hate
it because it's so big.
I want to burn it. I want it to go away. It doesn't have a backup camera. It doesn't have automatic, what is it? Or it does, you do have an automatic window, but it's just like, it is horrible.
It's not.
It is a horrible truck.
We've used it a lot.
But it's just not convenient.
No, it's not convenient. But I was like,
He went and bought a whole truck. And then it's like, we did need a second vehicle at the time. So if you're going to do that, like maybe get an SUV with like,
so
seats
stupid.
and stuff. It was the most ridiculous purchase. Talk about finances.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It was like bad. That's the only time in our marriage that he's made, that anyone.
No, you've made some decisions.
Dang.
Wait a minute now. I never bought a whole daggone truck. That's like debt and everything.
You quit a job.
I did quit a job.
Wait, you quit your job without talking to him?
I told him it was coming.
The school teacher job?
Didn't. She always does this. Yvette, tell the truth.
I really don't like this conversation. This is the one.
See how I just admitted it? All right, so first of all.
Okay.
Hold on, let me say this real quick. The reason why I bought the truck is we weren't communicating well. We didn't have the tools. She was going through stuff. And I was like panicking. I thought she left. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I bought the truck. You know what I'm saying? It was stupid. I shouldn't have did it. Right. Now tell them what you did.
No, listen. So when I was pregnant with Anaya and I found out that she was a girl, I was like, there's no way that he's raising my daughter. Mm-hmm. Like, I do believe that him being home with our two oldest boys was
brilliant.
Such a wonderful time for him. Those three have a bond that the rest of us can't penetrate. Mm-hmm. Like, they love their dad. They probably still wish their dad was a primary parent at home. However, when Anaya was in my womb, I
gotta use all that fluffy language. Just tell them what you did.
I was like, I really want to be home with her. And I was already having issues with jealousy of him being home with the kids.
Okay.
Like, I was dealing with that. I would be in my classroom looking at these kids, and I was like, I could be home with my kids right now. Like, why am I here with y'all? Type thing. And so I was already dealing with that. Add on to that, I needed to, what is the word?
Renew your credential.
My teaching credential, you have to do, I forget what the term is, but you have to do something to solidify yourself as a teacher. And each time that I got close to doing that, I got pregnant. So I got pregnant with Theo, and it deferred my time to do whatever this program was. What is it called? Then I got pregnant with Raya, and I delayed it again. And then I got pregnant with Anaya, and that was my last year that I had to, I think I was...
And mom and dad paid for that.
They did.
Wow.
And that was my last year to solidify my teaching credential. And so I didn't do it. I didn't do what I needed to do. And so by the time Anaya was born and I was going on maternity leave, I was like, I'm just not going to do it. Because I could have still.
But
No,
she didn't tell me that.
I don't think I had an option. I think it was something where I couldn't necessarily do it. I would have to.
She waited too long.
I waited too long. And then I would have to be like a substitute teacher or something.
Yeah, and so she...
So then I was like, I quit.
Yeah, and then she was just like, no, it wasn't like...
No, but I told him this was happening. I told him this was happening.
Yvette, we got the money. We paid to the thing from your mom, from your parents, and I said, we're running out of time. We're running out of time, and you were just like, I know. And then I was like, hey, are you gonna start looking for jobs? because you ran out of your credential at this one spot. But it was other schools that didn't allow it, that you didn't have
That
to
didn't
get a
require that thing.
So she was acting like she was going to apply for those jobs and just never looked.
Never looked.
And meanwhile, we only had 28,000 followers on YouTube. Like we weren't.
Is that where we were at?
Yeah, we weren't doing anything.
But this was where he was first starting to get brand deals and like he wasn't making a lot. It was a very irresponsible. I will take ownership of the fact that it was a very irresponsible decision to make at that season in our life.
Let's apologize for both. I'm sorry for the truck.
I'm sorry for quitting my job.
See how bad it sounds? Quitting my job sounds so much better.
He bought a $50,000 truck. She quit a $50,000 job.
For real.
There you go.
It's selling as an even wash.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Are we really going to be done? Because you keep bringing this up.
Ooh.
Okay.
Are we done?
Well, you want to burn the car?
I do.
All right.
Are we done?
Wait, you want to burn a car?
I want to get rid of that truck so bad.
Yeah.
Y'all, we'll wait, John. Y'all, this was a fun conversation, but I think it helped a lot of people, though. I mean, honesty and vulnerability and being transparent about how you navigate life with a partner, I think is conversations that we need more of in a healthy way, right? And so, y'all, my sister and brother have their own podcast outside of Beleaf and Fatherhood, which we all know about, right? But they have an amazing podcast called How Married Are You? That the conversations on there sometimes, I'm like, yeah, I ain't ready to listen. I ain't married yet. I don't want to hear this. But they're so like rich and in depth that I think y'all need to really dive in and check it out. So we're going to put that inside of today's show notes where y'all can check that out. They are impacting the married circle. I would say like the family circle, you know, really on raising children, how to have healthy boundaries inside your marriage, how to be a father. I mean, I think Glen was one of the first Black fathers to go public about staying at home, raising Black children. And I have to say, the dynamic of Glen and Yvette, if you really know the kids, they are by far ahead of the average child, their age in the world. I was listening to Theo play the piano and I was upstairs getting dressed. I said, there's no way in the world that's Theo. Like I was bobbing my head with me. I was like, oh shoot. I was like, and he's what? Like just what you all have exposed your kids to is just by far ahead. And I think that comes from both of you all. Because Evette, you're super intelligent. Glen, you're creative. And I see the intelligence and the creativity inside of y'all's kids.
Yeah.
And that just comes from what God has done through you two, right? And I pray that when I get married, which, you know, I'm working on that, you know, I believe that if I'm blessed to have kids, that it'll be the same thing for all of us, man. And so we're going to link their course. Check that out, you guys. We're going to link their How Married Are You podcast. Check that out. But they got some other amazing things that I can't talk about now, but they got some other content in different ways going to be coming out here soon that is going to, I believe, impact the world and the culture. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, follow them on Instagram and or TikTok, do it. And I promise you, you'll be blessed. Because it's not just about the kids. I think the true wealth of knowledge that you're going to get is not being entertained by what the kids are doing, but watching how they're loving each other, parenting, and navigating the space of marriage. And that's just a beautiful part. So check them out. We love you. Mom, Dad, we love you too. We'll see you on the next show. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.